I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. Gutted medical research.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
A lot of times, a moment like the one I'm getting ready to share with you goes viral, and the context for that viral moment kind of gets left out because it's not part of the most entertaining aspect of it. What took place yesterday with Jasmine Crockett when she crocketed? I'm still trying to make it a thing. Jasmine Crocketed Donald Trump, and he wasn't even in the room. Do I need to pause for the moment when the thing drops? Jasmine Crockett crocketed Donald Trump. The moment that you probably have seen, that you've heard about, actually was predicated by an intro to it, where she explained why the game that she did in the committee was important. And for me, the introduction to what she did was the most important thing, because it lays out and lays bare the Trump agenda. That this hearing, all this nonsense about trans athletes, of supporting women, it's all rooted in bigotry and misogyny itself. That they're dedicating finite government resources and time to something. There's like 8 to 10 NCAA athletes who are trans in this country. They need to be protected just like everybody else. They enjoy equal protection under the Constitution of the United States. They enjoy the same constitutional rights that all of us have. Trans rights are human rights. If you can't get on board with that, you can straight off. You might as well click off now. You probably already have. And that's fine. We don't need you. But Jasmine Crockett gave a beautiful introduction into this viral moment where she played Trump or trans. Here's that intro, and then we'll get to the viral moment.
Thank you so much. It is so interesting that I just learned today at 44 years old that the Republicans are going to be the ones to save women. The same Republicans that have been, say, for women's reproductive acts, or the same Republicans that have stood for the Equal Rights Act, which would hopefully get women to equal pay, or the same Republicans that just this Congress voted for the SAVE Act, which we know would disenfranchise women from even being able to vote. But let me tell you, they are our saviors, and so I am so happy to be here today, because otherwise I would not have an idea that I had a savior in the Republicans. So let's also talk about the fact that it's only been 100 days, 100 long, terrible days for anybody that absolutely believes in reality, because what we know is that they have terminated staff responsible for enforcing federal protections against sex-based discrimination. Sounds like that's pro-women. Or they've cut funding for domestic violence survivor services. Sounds pro-woman to me. Or they've prohibited funding for research affecting women's health. That definitely sounds pro-women to me. Essentially, they closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us. And instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet. So, Ms. Goss-Graves, I want to play a game.
That, for me, is that should have been the viral moment. That, for me, explains everything. That, to me, communicates so much. From a messaging standpoint, that is it. Republicans claim to be champions for women's rights and protecting women and standing up for women, when it's not about protecting women at all. It's about punishing trans people. It's about harming trans people. It's about oppressing an already oppressed and marginalized group in this country. That's what it's about. Because if it was about women, they would champion the Equal Rights Amendment. They would champion women's bodily autonomy and ability to make their own choices with their physician about their health care, their reproductive health care, and other things. They would press for equal pay to protect them economically, to protect them politically and not try to strip away voting rights for women. They would be doing these things and many others. Instead, what they do is they put a patina of protecting women when it's all about oppressing another group, trans women. Here is that viral moment. And we'll talk about this on the other side.
So, Miss Goss-Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much. This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement. So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade. Or how he spent 25% of his first 100 days golfing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over $30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent. So they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important than providing health care to their constituents. And when I talk about constituents, we're going to talk about the ones on this committee. So if we look at Texas 26, 39,000 children look to potentially lose their Medicaid with the cuts that they are about to vote on for reconciliation. 88,000 in Georgia 3, 68,000 in Missouri 7, 79,000 in Tennessee 2, 86,000 in South Carolina 4, 50,000 in Texas 04, 85,000 in Texas 27, and in Georgia 14, 111,000. And if you add that up just on this committee, we have 606,000 kids that are relying on us to do right by them. And instead, we playing these crazy games because we worried about 10 trans folk that are in sports right now in college. I wasn't elected to be engaged in these fights. I was elected to make sure that those kids, the kids that they are about to neglect with these terrible votes that they're about to take, I was elected to protect them.
The true, real, clear, and present danger to the United States does not lie in trans folks. It lies in Donald Trump. It lies in the dangerous, radical, extremist Republican agenda that suits to, that intends to, that purports to, that wants to separate us into groups. To make you fear trans people in your community. That if you're a woman and you are in a bathroom with a trans woman, that you're somehow at risk. When the real threat to women from the time that we were the species we are has been men. Men. No crimes are committed. That's the thing. They can't point to any times that atrocities were committed by trans people. They want to focus on this sports issue because it's sexy to them. Because it makes people, I don't understand trans stuff. It's scary to me because it's new and different and I don't get it. The same exact arguments that are being made against trans people and the equality of trans people and rights for trans people are the exact same arguments that were made against gay and lesbian people 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It's just recycled, retread nonsense. Bigotry for the sake of bigotry. Maybe not, for the sake of power. If they really wanted to make life better for Americans, this is not the shit they'd be focused on. And thankfully, we have people like Jasmine Crockett to point it out in both elements, the explanation, and then also the Trump or trans game. I'm here for it. What do you think? You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Thanks for joining me today. You can follow me on social media @Dollemore, and I'm going to go. Thankfully, we have leaders who are willing to step up and do the right thing here. We need more of this. If you believe you have it in you, get out there and run for office. Get involved. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.